Let's talk about mapping for a second. It seems like redistricting and gerrymandering has been in the headlines a lot lately, but the concept stretches all the way back when America was created. The first congressional maps drawn in 1788. Anti-federalists in Virginia forced Federalist candidate James Madison into a district in hopes of keeping him out of Congress. Madison won the election anyway. Fast forward to 1812, the term gerrymandering was coined, named after Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry. Gerrymandering described a snaking state Senate district designed especially to help Gerry's party gain seats in the chamber. In 1842, Congress changed the number of House of Representatives based on the census, setting the precedent for the modern congressional district system that we still use today. And then a number of Supreme Court cases forced states to redraw their districts. Many ended up being two parties, and the parties worked to create maps that were pro-incumbent. Well, now it is legal to draw lines to benefit one party, at least under federal law. The conservative majority on the Supreme Court took away federal courts' power, however, to review politically gerrymandered districts in 2019. Fast forward to this year, and the Supreme Court is set to hear a case that could change how congressional maps are drawn and ultimately impact the next election. The case challenges a congressional map Louisiana adopted last year that created a second majority black district. We will be following that one closely. Joining us now, Galen Druke, founder and host of the GD Politics podcast. You know, when it comes to gerrymandering, it's a term that we often hear, but few fully understand. One question some are asking now in this cycle is, has it gone too far and is it fair? How would you answer that question?
Well, of course, the Supreme Court has ruled that it's constitutional, or at least it's not their place to step in to prevent partisan gerrymandering from happening. And so too far is a bit of a subjective question, but I think the gambit here, right, is that maybe if both parties go as far as they possibly can in terms of gerrymandering the other party out of power in specific states, that it might reach some sort of apex where everyone decides that everyone has gone too far and Congress steps in. You know, just because the Supreme Court said that they're not going to get in the way, that partisan gerrymandering is not by default unconstitutional, doesn't mean that Congress can't step up and write some laws to help inform how states are meant to draw these congressional districts. Because ultimately, it is possible in the United States for politicians to draw the opposition party out of power to an extent that even if they win the majority of the vote, they still won't have the majority of the seats in Congress. And so maybe we're headed towards a place where this all comes to a head, but maybe we're just going to continue down this highly partisan, highly divisive moment that we're in.
One of the things that was brought up, at least in this cycle, was, you know, gerrymandering. Okay, we accept that it happens, it is constitutional, but we don't do it mid-cycle, right? We wait every 10 years. Are there some unwritten rules around gerrymandering that are not being followed?
Yeah, it has happened before. This is not the first time, specifically in Texas, it happened. But traditionally, states redistrict every 10 years after the census comes out because you have new data about how many people live in your state, where they live, and the likes, and that's when you redraw a map. And so, yeah, every 10 years, the states do have the opportunity to draw the maps to their advantage. Not every state. To be clear, there are many states in America that have state-level laws that prevent the kind of sort of outlandish redistricting or gerrymandering that we have seen in some states, but in many of the states across America, they're free to gerrymander, and it happens every 10 years. Of course, President Trump has urged Republican states to redistrict in order to give Republicans more seats. Texas came out in front. They gerrymandered the state to give Republicans 5 more seats. California has responded in kind, pursuing 5 more Democratic seats. Since then, we have also seen Missouri and North Carolina redistrict, giving Republicans 1 more seat in each. And at this point, now we're watching places like Virginia, Ohio, maybe Maryland, Kansas, Indiana, and especially Florida to see how far this is all going to go.
Yeah, gerrymandering 101. Galen Druke, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.